Christ. The oldest war story on earth is not carved in stone. Christ. It comes from a hymn sung beside a river in the 14th century before Christ. 10 armies marched across the land that would one day be called India. Christ. They came from the west, from the mountains, from the high passes of the Hindu Kush. Christ. 10 kings had forged to crush alliance. Christ. His name was Sudas, king of the Trtsu-Bharata people. Christ. Against him stood the Anu, the Druhu, the Turvasha, and the Yadu. Christ. The Peru brought their veteran spearmen hardened by decades of warfare. Christ. The Paktha and the Balanas descended from the cold northern highlands. Christ. Even the Shiva and the Vishanan joined the march against Sudas. Christ. 6,600 warriors crossed the floodplain under a gray monsoon sky. Christ. Their bronze spear tips caught the low sun in a river of steel. Christ. Sudas had fewer men and far fewer Christ. But Sudas had one thing the 10 kings did not. Christ. He knew the river. Christ. The Purushni was not just a boundary. Christ. It was a wild seasonal force that swelled without warning. Christ. Monsoon rains upstream could turn it into a wall of water. Christ. Sudas watched the gray cloud banks building over the distant peaks. Christ. He gave the order to move camp to higher ground above the eastern bank. Christ. The 10 kings saw his retreat and smelled blood. Christ. They pushed their columns forward into the shallow ford. Christ. Thousands of men in leather and bronze splashed into the knee-deep current. Christ. War drums pounded from both sides of the river. Christ. The Bharata warriors lined the high bank and beat their shields. Christ. A low rumble rose from somewhere far upstream. Christ. The water at the ford began. Christ. It rose faster than any man had ever seen a river. Christ. Muddy brown torrents swept chariots off their wheels. Christ. Oxen panicked and dragged supply carts into the churning foam. Christ. Warriors in heavy bronze breastplates sank before they could unbuckle their armor. Christ. What had been a ford was now a raging flood. Christ. Sudas gave the signal. Christ. His charioteers charged down from the high ground into the broken enemy line. Christ. The Bharata war horses thundered through ankle-deep shallows. Christ. Copper-headed arrows arsed overhead in dark whistling sheets. Christ. The allied kings screamed orders that no one could hear. Christ. The Puru spearmen tried to form a shield wall on a collapsing sandbar. Christ. The river took them. Christ. Hundreds of bodies in leather and wool bobbed downstream in the brown current. Christ. The Purushni ran red for an entire Christ. By sunset, the 10-king coalition no longer existed. Christ. Sudas stood on the bank and watched the water carry away an era. Christ. Not one of the 10 kings survived to challenge him again. Christ. The Bharata victory created something that the Rig Veda recorded forever. Christ. The word Bharata stopped meaning just one clan. Christ. It became the name of a people bound by a shared story. Christ. The poets called it the Dasarajna, the Battle of the 10 Kings. Christ. They sang it into the 7th book of the Rig Veda. Christ. Those hymns are still recited today, 3,500 years later. Christ. Sudas never built a pyramid or carved his face into a mountain. Christ. But his victory on a flooded river shaped the identity of an entire civilization. Christ. Every time someone speaks the name Bharat, they are speaking his legacy. Christ. The oldest war story on earth is also the one that never ended.